Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, welcome to another comic episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who is mutated Morphin with me tonight?
Dimension X Ranger Red Fox.
This is Joe Butler, and I hope my animal form doesn't look weird.
And we are here to talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 comic. That came out in the end of 2022 and then ran till 2023. And not that long ago, at the time of hearing this. Which is it's a mini series that's published by Boom, so it's not part of the TMNT actual series. But it's not. I don't think it's even part of the Boom Studio series. It's just its own thing.
It's its own continuity.
Okay.
So we read
it's not connected to any of the others.
Okay, that makes sense because it really does have that Saturday. Like this one, even more so, felt like it was a continuation of the cartoons almost.
Agreed.
In like a strange dimension where both the shows are airing at the same time. So. It was, yeah.
Would have loved to see that as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a Power Ranger special with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No.
There is.
Oh.
Okay.
There was an episode in Power Rangers in Space crossed over with The Next Mutation.
I did not know that.
Yeah, check it out.
How bad was it?
Well, I mean, In Space was a really good Power Ranger season. Next Mutation for Turtles, unfortunately, was not.
I know that part. That's why
but the team up was cool for what it was, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome. I had no idea that happened. Wow. Okay. So I'm not sure when you're gonna hear this, but like a month ago, well, let's say a month ago, the time you're probably hearing this, we covered the first series, and then it was a few years later, and they finally published the second series. I think they took a couple years off before this next one came out.
Yeah, there was a sizable gap in between,
which makes me really sad because I want 3, but we'll get to that later. I really, really want 3 now.
So I want to complain about one thing before we dig into the comic. So I thought, because whenever you look at these things, it goes, oh, do you have a Comixology account? You can read them for free. So I decided to do that because it was $5 a month. So I'm going to cancel that maybe because the way they get you is for this chapter, the first 3 chapters are free, but you have to pay money to read the last 2.
Oh.
So I want to say it's the cover that has the Red X Ranger, Extreme Ranger on it.
That's 4.
Yeah, or is that 4? Then there was that one, and the last one are the ones that aren't that I had to pay like $3 each for. So goddamn you, Comixology, you're not worth a fuck.
I would have given you a website. You can read them without any cost.
Nah, it's fine. I kind of like the layout because I have an Amazon tablet, and that's really the main reason why.
Okay, I have a tablet. It's issue 3 that has Ranger X on the cover.
Okay, yeah. I
read these on a tablet on a particular website. The only problem is I get ads for random porn and stuff. So, and cam girls that want to talk to me right now. So,
right now? Heard of ad blockers, buddy?
I don't have it on my tablet. I have it on my computer, but not my tablet. I really should put it on my tablet because sometimes if you click on if I accidentally click on the image anywhere of the comic, it goes to some other website and I have to close the tab. So. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to put some ad blockers on there, huh? Who wants to do that? Right. So when the first issue ended, the first miniseries, the whole thing was Shredder. I think it goes with Rita. Shredder and Rita are missing, and that's where this picks up. The cover of this issue got me excited. You have Leo and you have Jason on the cover, and you have Krang in his 1987 suit. You have Bebop, Rocksteady, and just tons of foot soldiers, and it grabs your attention. Such a cool cover.
Yeah, I got a question now. That original cartoon Krang suit. Does that even make an appearance in this comic? I know they have a version of it, but not that one.
No, he has a really cool enhanced one.
So it's weird that they even chose to put that on here.
Because the target audience was kids that were, kids in the 90s.
Yeah.
I do like that everything is purple, too. Like the old foot soldier kind of purple look kind of grabs your attention a little more.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much catered to us, people like us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, again, I still really believe this is kind of an incarnation of the 1987 Turtles and the original Power Rangers that were, would have been on 90s.
That's exactly what they're doing here.
It works. It really works. And this was written by Ryan Parrott, illustrated by Dan Mora. I do not know either of them, but somebody might.
Well, I definitely do.
I thought this, one thing that kind of brought my attention right when this issue starts, you have Casey fighting Karai. And because of, like, me and Rich, we have read so much frickin' Turtle stuff, I really, really like Karai now. So I'm like, yes, not the same Karai, but still. And it really kind of like drew me because again, he's wearing the same mask that is not the regular TMT mask. He's wearing the mask from the '87 cartoon, which means nothing maybe, but it just kind of gets me like thinking. And then you have it where a portal opens up, he gets knocked back in the head. Karai's talking to somebody that she knows, and then they disappear, and then it cuts back to a week later. Or not cuts back, but it goes to a week later.
And I want to pinpoint that he's on the hunt for Shredder. So Shredder is missing.
Mm-hmm.
So they know. I think in the first run, Rita and Shredder disappeared over to Dimension X to get things going, but now Casey's trying to hunt down Shredder.
And it's only 6 months later, not 3 years later, like it's really been.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 3 years or something. I'm trying to find out, but it's taking longer than I like. But so, what did you guys think of the first scene when you see the turtles in Angel Grove, where they're not looking like the turtles?
Probably one of my top 3 human designs for the turtles. You have a lot of fan designs, and you have a lot of other people who release designs like actual that are in the show, and I'd probably say this is my top 3.
Okay.
I think it was a good modern take on it. I thought it was very fitting for him.
I liked it. It was really cool to see.
To quote the turtles, it's better than a fedora and trench coat. So
I love that quote's in here.
I flashed back to that. I was like, "Oh, this is so much better."
I mean, again, that's just the movie, right? Reference? Oh, and the cartoon, I guess, too.
And the toys, they had outfits like that, too, yeah.
I should know. I probably had them. I mean, I don't know much about, like, when they're in Angel Grove and they're talking to whoever that guy is that makes them smoothies that works at the place. I have no idea who any of this stuff is. I'm assuming
Ernie.
Okay. I'm assuming it means something to me if I actually cared more about Power Rangers.
You will eventually.
Eventually, it's their goofy little hangout spot. Where in the Power Rangers they go and they go to other hangout spot, and in the '90s it's weird because '90s it makes sense because it's the spot where everyone hangs out after school and you have your own table and you drink juices and eat power bars and stuff like that, and they still kind of kept it here, but it's weird because I feel like this is supposed to be like a modern day kind of thing, and these places kind of exist and kind of don't, because I mean essentially it's just what a Starbucks now.
Yes,
right. Well, this is you got to think too. So this is the juice bar. Not only do they get juice there, smoothies and stuff, but they also like work out there. They practice martial arts. Kimberly does her gymnastics. It's like a recreation center at the same time.
You also notice how nobody has phones, so it must be like it's not, it's supposed to be kind of like the '90s.
I guess
the technology is not caught up.
One thing I want to point out is Mikey, when he's at the juice bar, if you see his hands, it's like his turtle hands, but in human form.
I like that.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
That is cool. Hey, it wasn't drawn by AI because you can actually tell these are really drawn hands and not just weird looking hands.
I also think it's funny, all 4 of them are wearing their headbands in some way, even though I think like 2 of the turtles, I think later on you see that they're wearing hats.
But they still worked it in.
Yeah, they still worked it in.
It's a really cool design. I was just impressed to seeing it, and I really don't know. Like, you also get introduced to who are the 2 bozos? Skull and
Bulk and Skull.
Yeah, I remember them vaguely, but they're much different in the comic than what they were in the cartoon.
Yeah, they're not far off. They just have more of a focus in the comic because the Ranger Station TV show, which is also from IDW, so that's one thing that they kept from or not IDW, but Boom.
Okay. I mean, I like how I think it was something from the last one, but where each turtle kind of has their own ranger they bond with, where Donnie's bonding with Billy, and you have Leo and Jason fighting, training together. I like that. And Raphael and Tommy are together. Like, it's a cool dynamic how they did that. Aren't there 5 rangers?
Yeah, April's hanging out with 2 girls.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
6 rangers, actually.
There are 6 rangers, yeah.
Oh, Trini,
Tim, Billy, Zach, Jason, Tommy.
Okay. I really need to get into more Power Rangers, I think.
Soon, my friend.
I will do the comic for sure. I need more turtles when we get done with the other stuff we're doing, but I'm definitely, I want to read this comic. I really do want to see what Boom does. For having no interest after you got me to read these 2 miniseries, I have a lot more interest now.
Good.
So the guy they're talking to with Tommy and Raphael, that's supposed to be the guy from the first one that they rescued, right? Who was a foot ninja, now is not.
Hold on. Wait, are you skipping ahead a little bit here? Hold on.
I don't think so.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I do like the fight with Leonardo and what's your leader, Jason?
Yeah, Jason's a ranger.
Yeah, and I do love that they switch weapons, and it kind of also showed, like, one of the things that I did like about like the comic, the last comic, and then this one shows a bit too, that the the kids from the Ranger side aren't just like kids who, like, once they get their powers, they're only competent with their powers. Like, it actually shows them training and doing other things, and it shows that they're actually competent with other weapons.
Yeah, that is cool to see. I didn't think much about the training scene, just them training, but I guess there is more meaning to it. Kind of talking about how you can't tell your brother something or he'll hold it against you forever, jokingly type of thing.
Donnie ends up, when he's with Billy, mentioning shadow morphers, which is a new concept in Power Rangers in general. I've never seen that in any other iteration, TV show, or the Boom Studios comics. I mean, obviously, I've never watched every season of Power Rangers, but this is the first time I've ever heard of it in here.
Okay, is that what the blue suit that in the background is that looks different?
No, that's some modifications that Billy made. I think it was in the first run, or no, not even the first run. When did he wear that? I honestly don't remember, but that's not what he's referring to. Like, so okay. I think like later on when Shredder morphs, that is a shadow morpher that he has.
Okay, because he does say shadow morpher at that point too.
Yeah, it goes off the weird Power Rangers rule, because I know off the top of my head some Power Rangers stuff is that you can't have two of the same coins. So I guess it's in case they have an emergency. The turtles are still able to use shadow morphers in case they all have to transform at the same time.
That's the only thing that really makes sense to me.
Yeah, same.
Okay. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. All right. I mean, I know the shadow morpher in here, but like I don't know much else.
I don't either. Funny enough, I was talking to it about with my partner there earlier. Power Rangers, in fact, I think in like a week is officially ending the Space Dinos, whatever it's called. It's coming on Netflix. They confirmed because we actually just missed like a big Power Rangers, like Hasbro's big con they have where they show off all the new toys coming out and things like that. And we're also getting, one of the things that I'm really excited for is we're getting the Green Ranger morpher from the TV show that Tommy actually uses, where you can put different power coins from all the different suits he's used. So you have a power coin for the White Ranger, the Green Ranger, the Lord Draken suit, the Red Ranger from Turbo, and then also the black long neck dinosaur from Dino Fury. A lot of like the weird Power Ranger stuff is like goes along with like the grid, and the grid has colors, and you're only able to use so much power. It causes you to go mad, and all kinds of other weird stuff like that.
Okay, that I didn't know. At one point, I tried watching recaps of each season that Rich sent me or told me about, but I couldn't do it. It was like just the important stuff of every season, but just...
Yeah, the Morphin grid has its limitations. Most individuals or beings that are Rangers, they're strictly limited to how they connect to the grid. So that's why everybody has their own different type of morpher and things like that. So
okay, so that's
usually what we see here.
That makes more sense here because they talk a lot about the Morphin grid as this comic continues on. It has a lot to do with what they're up to. So
it plays a big role. Like, so the Morphin grid itself isn't really pliable. Like, you can't really do much with the grid. The grid is there and it's like ever being. Whereas in how you connect to it can always be changed, as we see with the power node later on.
Okay. So kind of, I was going to say kind of like an electric grid, but that doesn't make sense. But it's just something that's just energy that's there. You're just taking the energy and using it, essentially.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And then there's something about colors, but I've never actually quite understood what that is either. There's something to do with you can't mix colors and all kinds of other weird stuff.
Man, they go deep down the rabbit hole. When you start up Boom, you'll see it all.
Yeah.
Well, it's happening at some point. I just got to give I still have my turtle fix, but at some point it's happening. When Turtle lets me down in 100, then we'll probably switch. You told me they're going to let me down when we get to 100, aren't they?
Very high chance, yes.
So, damn, is it good? Okay. And then when you have Tommy Raphael on the roof, and this is one that I'm guessing that's the guy from the first series that he tells me in case he's been gone for a week.
That's him, yeah. And this is like his only appearance in the comic this time.
So I was a little confused the next part. They go to the sewers and they run into a guy that looks like Shredder, but it's not Shredder. It's something to do with the Rat King. Was that a character from anything else? The guy that's...
If it is, I didn't recognize it.
Okay.
Never seen it before.
Okay, I was just curious because I'm like, what is this random, like, I watched a lot of TMT stuff and I'm quite caught up in TMT. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Sir Swale is his name. I should have looked him up, honestly, but I forgot he was in there.
He's only in one, I mean, he's in literally one panel and one page and he disappears. I mean, the whole point of he guards the Rat King, and they take the Rat King, who was such a goofy character in the 87 cartoon, and they make him just creepy as fuck in this.
Oh, they make him super badass. And you've seen him how he is in IDW.
He's a fucking god.
Yeah.
He's a fucking demon god.
And they have the '80s look of the Rat King in here too, just modernized and updated, and actually kind of scary looking.
Mm-hmm. It's good. They did a good job with him, and they do a good job of making him kind of scary too, where he's talking to the way he just talks. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool the way they just see him again for no reason. He's just here for one page, and he tells them that people are missing.
Just a little cameo, kind of, yeah.
And then you have,
and he states to them that there's a ranger going around practically kidnapping people, which is quite alarming to these two, or should be at least.
It wasn't what I expected, though. That's for sure.
I sure as hell didn't expect it either.
And the way it does the next 2 pages, really, I wish I would have been reading a real comic and not a digital comic, because it shows Rocksteady and Goldar, or not Rocksteady, and breaking out Baxter Stockman. But the way they did it is one panel, or one page is one side that you read from top to bottom, and the other one you read from bottom to top, which is them escaping through the prison, going to the roof. It's a really fucking cool way to do it, though.
I liked how they did that. It really stood out.
I was like, this is impressive.
And as you notice, and they'll bring it up later, they are a little advanced technologically speaking. Like if you see in that bottom panel on the right, when they're about to head up the stairs, you see Rocksteady's, like, I don't know, like metallic arm.
He has a metallic arm. Normally. Goldar, I think, is more enhanced too, but I don't know the damn difference between the regular Goldar and this Goldar. So
yeah, I don't think they really.
He's a flaming sword now.
Focus on it. So that's nice. Yeah.
It's more irrelevant. And then I know Bebop, who's not here, who shows up later, has like a freaking like turret cannon on his shoulders or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's just kind of like the point of it, the comic, but I guess all of the villains are more like terrifying because Goldar is usually goofy and so are Bebop and Rocksteady. I don't know if like it's the point of this series to make them more serious or if it's some part of like the weird like, oh no, there's something going on where they're more serious, but either way I think it's pretty cool.
What I think they're trying to go for with that is that you're dealing with a team of 10, so they gotta kind of up the threat factor of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Way I kind of rationalize it.
I mean, that's fair because you do have a lot more characters than you normally would have. And you're also trying to combine stuff from the two. I feel like Power Rangers are a big thing where people get enhanced or something. Like the enemies will, maybe.
To an extent, yeah, sure.
I don't know enough about Power Rangers.
I mean, they don't involve like Digimon or anything like that, but they, sometimes like Rita and Zed will make the monster stronger before the Power Rangers end up killing it, but that's usually when the Zords come out and all that. That's usually as far as that goes for the most part.
Okay. There's a 2-page spread here is really cool when you see the Turtles and the Power Rangers all together for the first time. I like
really
that a lot.
Nice.
And it just kind of shows them fighting. They're trying to stop Baxter from going away, and they're not having a problem fighting Goldar and Rocksteady, which they shouldn't because there's only 2 of them really versus fucking 10 people. And then Casey Jones shows up, and this is kind of throws you for a loop because like, oh, hey, Casey, you're not missing anymore. Hey, good to see you. And then he just knocks Donnie in the back of the head. And you're like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool moment. And then when he first transformed into Power Extreme, I had no idea what the hell was going on. I'm like, I didn't think Dimension X. I was thinking, oh, this is another Ranger thing that I just don't know about because I'm not caught up on Ranger.
This is all new.
Okay.
100% new.
No, this is cool, though. It was definitely, I mean, you have a full page of seeing him in his, where he powers up, and I'm like, embracing chaos, power up. It's cool.
And it's still, it still holds true to both universes for the most part, too. And more so the fact that Power Rangers, other universes, other galaxies, they have their own connection to the grid also. Like the grid spans like every universe. So it still makes sense in this.
Okay. That I didn't know.
Yeah, it's one thing that we did and didn't steal from Super Sentai. that most of the series always usually takes place in different universes, which is also why I'm also disappointed in American Power Rangers because they don't want to do that anymore. And they're like, well, we're just going to end the series now with our own thing. It's like, but you guys have like 10 seasons you didn't use. Just steal those. It's fine. I don't care.
Mighty Morphin Trainazord. We don't get the trains, I don't think, because Americans don't care.
I don't think we ever will.
No, we will not. I mean, it's cool, but trains mean nothing to us here because we don't believe in trains. We believe in polluting the earth instead. There's that. We train
The best you're going to see is a cameo with that suit, but that'll ever happen too.
I only know it exists because one of the toys that made us talks about it. The ones that that never came here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the end of this issue is Casey takes takes Rocksteady and Baxter Stockman, which really After reading all the TMT stuff, I don't really like seeing the white Baxter Stockman from the 87 cartoon, essentially. I just don't like it. I'm like, I want the black guy.
It doesn't feel right anymore now that we're older, but it's because they're staying true to that 80s. That's the only way that I actually like seeing it in there.
Yeah, I mean, again, it makes sense because it's fitting what they're going for. And then he takes them, he goes in the portal, and then he leaves them, and they're all confused and hurt because their friend betrayed them. That's issue 1.
It's a great issue.
It is. I read this whole series twice because it's me. I read it once about a week
ago. Norm by now, isn't it?
For most comics we cover, yeah. I try to read things twice just to get that more feel of it. Plus, newer comics are easy to read twice because there's less word bubbles. I was reading a Star Wars comic from the 90s, and that was a little harder because it had a lot more word bubbles.
Oh, man. It's like they go on rants in some of those older ones. Like a lot of the older Marvel stuff, I'm like, I can't.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't even. I tried at one point to read the early Avenger stuff. Don't ever do that.
I was trying to read early Captain America, and I was like, I can't.
From the 40s?
No, not that early.
I was going to say, it was like, he probably says, buy war bonds in there every other line.
Yeah. No, it was probably like maybe around the 60s, 70s.
There's only one run I want to read from the 60s, which is the Invaders run, but I don't know about that.
No, I think the one thing which I don't know if either of y'all have seen, I think Mike might have, the manga version of Death Note that has like full half pages of just like people talking about what their plan is. I remember reading that. I remember reading that back in high school, and I was like, why the fuck did they make this into a manga? Well, at least it explains why they had it as an anime. And in fact, there's so many words they actually do have a book version of Death Note.
Wow. I did not know that.
That's too much. I watched the anime. That was enough for me.
Yeah, the anime was amazing.
I watched the Netflix movie. That was the movie. But
I tried and shut it off in like 15 minutes.
That's what Tiff was trying to get me to do. She's like, turn this off. This is terrible. Like, nope, you wanted to start it. We're going to finish it. And I sat there and watched the whole thing. But that brings us to issue 2. This is another cool cover, just the Turtles and the Rangers. And it makes the Turtles look a lot different. I feel like Michelangelo looks like he's a lot smaller than Raphael just because of the way they drew it. Which I didn't
he does.
care for. Still a cool cover. Oh, so I have a big question for...
to be the runt of the group, so...
Okay. I have a question for you two, because I was very confused. So this one starts off the Technodrome in Dimension X. You have a bunch of villains that are talking to Rita. And one of the villains, I think her name's like Scorpia. Who the hell is she? I don't remember her from the original show.
Her name is Scorpina. She was in the original run, first 1 to 2 seasons. She was there.
I don't remember her at all.
Yep, she wasn't as prominent as like a Goldar or any other. It's a Rita's minion, but she wasn't as prominent as the others. She kind of did more sporadic appearances.
Okay, I remember Goldar, the blue guy, the guy that made the putties, the other idiot with him with the monocle, but I don't remember this woman at all.
I swear she comes back later too, but I don't really remember.
Okay, I was just really curious. I thought maybe it was from a later Power Rangers thing that they were borrowing from. I was very confused.
Yeah, she's there.
Okay. I really like Rita's redesign in this too. They made her look badass. It's so much better than the brown cloak.
So that's reminiscent of a storyline that they have going currently in Boom Studios.
Oh,
that's cool.
So she becomes Empress Vile, which is her influenced by her father's name, who was Master Vile, and he originated in the actual show too as well.
Oh,
this is why I have you here, because I wouldn't know none of this shit.
I just thought it was a redesign for the suit. I just want to say that's a sick fucking suit.
It is. They made her sexy, and that's not something I ever thought I'd say about Rita. They did.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's not what I thought when I watched the old cartoon. Rangers, I will stop you. I'm like, get this out of here.
In the comics now, she's forefront of being the villain right now, and she's Empress Vile, which is the world is like coming to a damn near an end right now in the comics. It's getting pretty nuts.
Okay. Are you caught up on Turtles? Or not Turtles, but Power Rangers?
No, Power Rangers I'm caught up.
Okay. All right. And then you kind of like, and then it jumps back and forth in New York City, show the Rangers kind of licking their wounds, essentially, talking about being brainwashed, and Tommy saying how I was brainwashed, and that it's some object that means to you. I don't remember what his object was that they broke.
It was the dark sword.
Okay. God, it's been so long.
Yeah, that was a sick sword. I love that sword.
I love that damn sword.
And then you get introduced to the X Morphers, which I should have known that these were going to have. Like when I saw they were blue, red, orange, and purple, I should have known something was coming with this.
And
then Casey just so happened to get the pink.
Wait, is that what color he is? I was gonna say there are 2 fucking Red Rangers.
No, that's pink, man. It looks good, but it's pink.
Huh.
I did not know that.
I think when you think about it, it kind of fits too because it's more of like a connection to like Krang in a way. I get more like Krang vibes.
Oh,
that's
all right. I also didn't really. So I mean, I didn't know this till you said this earlier, where that like it makes sense that Dimension X had its own Rangers because like you said, like all these different dimensions have Rangers and things. Like I thought that was cool, that idea. And I didn't realize it was something that they already have. They're just using here. I thought it was a brand new idea. Like, oh, that's cool. And like I'm assuming Krang killed them all based on.
Yeah, I would. I think he says it too. I think
he does.
That sadly, we were forced to destroy them when the Rangers dared to rise up against the Utroms.
I like the design of Krang in here too. It took like the '87 cartoon Krang and makes him more menacing.
I like it.
Not as menacing as the TMT IDW run, but he's still more menacing looking.
Either of y'all seen there is no technically new current besides the movie. There's no current TMNT. Have you watched the last one that Nickelodeon pooped out, The Rise?
I have not seen it.
Me either.
I could at least recommend going and watch the trailer because they uploaded the movie on Netflix, and the movie is about the Krang being the main bad guys, and that's probably besides this, the second time I've seen the Krang be absolutely terrifying, and that movie does that justice as well.
Nice. I'm gonna have to watch it.
2003 Turtles. You want to see a fucking terrible Krang? Watch that, or actually watch the recap videos on some guy made on YouTube where he talks about each season. That's all. That's the way to watch that show.
Is that the CGI one?
2003. No, that's 2012. No. 2003 one is just cool, drawn.
2D animation, yeah, more of a serious take on it.
The one made by Fox, I think.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Fox.
Was that 4Kids?
Yeah,
I think it was the company.
It's not much of a kid show considering every time Baxter Stockman fails, he loses body parts. But hey,
yeah.
He's literally a brain at one point. And he's a head inside a spider. Like they just keep torturing him. It's and then you get a few like just little stuff of seeing the turtles and the Rangers. One part that really got my attention was Zordon and Splinter playing chess against each other. That was really cool to me.
It's definitely a cool scene. So what I liked about this run, and I love the first one by the way, but what this one does better is the bonding between like minds. Like you have Zordon and Splinter just sharing knowledge with each other, but also Zordon. And you don't see this. You won't ever see this in Boom Studios or any continuity for that matter. Zordon showing almost self-doubt in a way. And he's sharing it with who he considers a peer. And they cover that. That's a very interesting take that I've never seen before.
That's cool. I didn't realize it was something, exclusive to this. I guess he's always the mentor.
He's always the mentor. And it's like, well, even mentors need to vent and like bounce ideas. And Splinter is that guy for him in this.
I always like seeing.
You mean he doesn't want to bounce ideas off? Off that character.
Alpha, yeah.
I always like doing them do something differently with Zordon. And I think the other time that I could think of is in the live action movie when they make him the original Red Ranger.
I thought that was pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Is that in the one that we'll never get a sequel to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will give you guys a heads up now. That floating head gets some action, like fighting action in the Boom Studios comics too. So you get to see even his origins, him 10,000 years ago when he was big stuff in the military. You get to see a lot of stuff.
Okay. Again, you are selling me on it. All right, you really are.
I don't think I have to try very much harder at this point.
No, you sold me on TMT, and then it's just I'm already on this. I just haven't. I got other stuff. TMT is more close to my heart than Power Rangers is. But I like both. I'm noticing, well, comic-wise at least. And then when it cuts back to like Angel Grove, you have April and the two idiots. I love this 2-page spread when Rita opens a portal and comes through with a rock army, like rock army and putties. And you see Slash and Leatherhead and like just really badass looking designs. And then her other people. But
look severely menacing in this big collage of villains.
Slash actually almost, I mean, he doesn't look that much more menacing than what he does in the actual IDW run, though, by the way.
They tried to stick closer, obviously, to his cartoon run. But yeah.
80s.
Is there a reason why they have a turtle that looks like a Ninja Turtle?
You mean Slash?
Yes.
That's Slash.
Yeah, that's Slash.
So evil turtle that he originated back in actually the original comics from Mirage. They just have changed the design drastically over the years.
I believe that.
In most cases, he's a waste of a character. I think IDW's done a good job with him. Mike still has to see where that goes. But they've done a good job with him there. But that character has so much potential that they
didn't do a lot with him in the '87 cartoon, though, from what I remember.
That was definitely a waste. Like his design was actually pretty dumpy. This design here is closer to like his toy release that they had.
Okay, it's very cool.
One yellow eye and everything. Yeah,
I liked it a lot, and I also like when the Rangers and the Turtles morph together, and you have the Ranger and a turtle, and then April and Kimberly. Like it's just so cool to see where they're like power bunga.
They're all morphed
this
together with those shadow morphers.
Yes. It's so damn cool. That's something I want like a poster of, just this one page. Awesome looking.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed having the Turtles in Ranger form. And I can't remember the first one had putty rock soldiers. I think they had putty foot soldiers in the first one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get putty rock soldiers, which is cool, and you get to see him fight Leatherhead, which I really like Leatherhead for some weird reason. I really don't know why. I just like him a lot. He's one of those characters.
You like anthropomorphic alligators, apparently.
Apparently I do, yes. Hey, when I was in Boston and I went to the convention, I saw a Leatherhead Funko Pop and I took a picture of it to send to you, which I didn't do, but I took a picture. I was like, oh. I just like Leatherhead. I didn't want to bother putting it in the suitcase because it might get broken, the box. Plus, I was already spending enough money. But I thought about it. And that'll be when I go to Twin Cities Con this year. Maybe I'll find one. But it was... I like seeing him in here, and I like how you find out that it's all a trap. Like why they're fighting this invasion in Angel Grove, Bebop and Casey and Scorpia, whoever the hell she is again, are attacking where the headquarters of the Power Rangers. I thought this was cool. And then you get to see Leo. Is that Leo in the Red Ranger in here?
You gotta catch up to where you're at here.
No, Raphael.
Raph and
okay.
Yeah.
I just found that odd because Raph isn't the leader, but yeah, okay. Raphael.
Coordination, my friend.
I'm gonna say they've been mixing it up a lot lately, where they haven't making Raph the leader. I think they do it in a couple of the movies and the TV shows lately.
Yeah, they do experiment with him being leader now and then. I don't know what they're really doing here, but yeah, they do it in certain iterations.
There's also a really funny throwaway line. I don't know if it's here or a little bit later, but April confirming you can take the skirt off whenever you want to on the Ranger suit. I thought was pretty funny.
I did catch that.
Yeah, that's here.
I think because this is around 2022, 23, in the current run of Power Rangers that just ended, the Green Ranger is a girl, and she legitimately goes, "I don't like wearing a fucking skirt," and she just rips it off, and she's like, "Yeah, that's better," and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a thing. So it's cool they have that in there.
And then we have probably, which is I mentioned in the chat, my favorite moment, which is Casey showing up and hitting Raph, and his helmet's cracked open as he's distressed, which is just a completely peak panel.
It is cool. I didn't realize it was a trope, but that is cool.
What's cool is that this is the first time you see it happen with a turtle. Like
it was cool, yes.
A million times with the normal team or normal Rangers, but the turtle, yeah, it's first time.
It was cool seeing it with a turtle. And then they break the hockey stick weapon that Casey Jones has, thinking he's brainwashed, and they find out, nope, he's not brainwashed. I mean, I guess this is when he tells them that he's actually like he says he's whatever he's doing is not for them, and he says to trust them.
They actually called it out, I think, in the first issue, or no, it was somebody. I think they called it out in the comic that it was going to happen, but that's exactly the route they went.
Yeah, they didn't think he was betraying them. They thought he was up to something, so they trusted him. Where the Rangers think it's like Tommy, where he's possessed.
Well, weirdly enough, in the last comic, Tommy was also not possessed, but he was also doing undercover work, so it's still kind of a rehash of the first comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they blow up Bebop blows up the place where Zordon is, and then they teleport Zordon out at the last minute, I guess. And the last panel just shows Shredder showing up after he throws 2 shurikens at Bebop to stop him. It was cool to see Shredder in here. That was cool. I did not expect that at all.
Cool ass intro.
Yeah.
They continue to make him more and more badass in the series, and it's like the best thing ever.
They do a good. I mean, he's a badass, in, like especially in the IDW stuff. Woo, is he evil? But he's good in this.
Yeah.
I will never stop referencing the IDW. That stuff is just. I tell people all the time, like, read it. It's great.
So I think it's always one of the things that I think is interesting is whenever they have like, and it's always a normal thing too of the enemy is my friend, and so it reveals that like Shredder's there because someone's up to something. And I also think he says that he got kicked to the curb for Rita, which is weird because I feel like Shredder has a better track record than Rita Repulsa.
I mean, it depends on what Shredder version, I think. Because in this world, I feel like he's much more of a goof if you're kind of referencing the 80s.
I don't know. I mean, traditionally, yes, but they make him actually pretty badass. The last run and this one, like it's like they merged the current IDW Shredder with the 80s one. Like they don't make him to be a comedic goof in this one. What you might be missing here is how serious that Boom Studios takes Rita. That because if you're going off the 90s TV show Rita, a goof and a joke, just like Shredder was in the cartoon, but in the Boom Studios, pure devious threat, especially in that Empress Vile type of look.
That might be what it is then, because I mean, if you think about it, I see this Shredder, and he's an absolute badass ninja. And when I think of Rita, I think of, oh hey, it's a witch that like was encased in a space trash can for like 1,000 years.
yeah, a lot more to it, which they're basing it off of.
Okay, that's cool to know though. That there's a lot more to it than what it seems like to us. Especially us just kind of coming from the cartoon. In issue 3, that's the one that you had to pay for, I think, right, Joe? Where the cover is Casey as an X-Ranger.
No, it's the last two.
Okay, it wasn't this one that they.
Yeah,
they let you have one more for free.
Yes, that's how they get you. They give you a little more than half, and then you have to pay for the finale.
I get it. I never used Comixology, but I'm not surprised. Hey, at least they gave you 2. At least they gave you 3 for free. I mean, otherwise you've been buying the actual physical books for like $4 a book.
Well, that's the weird thing though, is that they didn't. I guess just because they just released the last panel or the last chapter for this one, I couldn't buy all of them in one go because I think the first one was already in a booklet, so I bought the booklet on Comixology, and that even has like in between each chapter it has like the concept art and all that other stuff. This one, when I tried to look it up, there was no option to like buy like the compendium, I guess it would be called. Like I had to buy each chapter individually.
You gotta wait till the trade has been published.
Yeah.
The digital trade too, because they not like they just take the digital copy and put them together. No. So yeah, that makes sense. They got to get their money before they'll sell you the deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Issue 3, you get to see Shredder fighting, and he just beats the shit out of Bebop and Scorpina and Goldar like really fucking fast. You are right though. He's such a bad. He almost like he's in a mech himself because you never see his face. His mask completely covers his mouth and his face, and he looks more menacing than he does in other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely liked it. And this is then you find out the whole reason why they're at the grid is Baxter is doing something that you guys talked about earlier where he's messing with the grid to redirect the power so then the Rangers and the Turtles all lose their morphing powers.
Yep. So they end up disconnecting the power node, which acts as a filter from the morphing grid to the Rangers so they can actually morph. Which is a new concept, by the way, too. I've never heard of that in Boom Studios, by the way.
Okay, I'm impressed they put a bunch of new stuff in this. In this, like this is not the place I thought we'd be getting a bunch of new things for Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Turtles crossover.
It's fine. It's one of those things like where some stuff where they make comics, so they play it a little fast and a little loose, and as long as they don't go like super offhanded, like they don't have like someone becoming a ranger with all the colors or something, I think they're fine to do whatever they want, kind of what they want to do.
I think it's the same guy writing this that writes the Boom stuff too. I think
it is.
Okay, so yeah, he probably has free reign, kind of do what he wants to a degree.
They trust him. He does a good job.
Okay, and then when
I trust him.
And then you have them, and then they teleport out, and then you see them in because you also see Angel Grove where the other turtles were fighting and the Rangers, and now they're running away from Rita. Who is the fat blue guy that was always a joke that all of a sudden looks like a badass in this randomly?
Squat.
Okay, and the other person, the used to had a monocle in the original show, but doesn't here.
Babu.
Okay, God, these are dumb names.
Also,
yep.
Also, Rita's cape or wings, that was pretty fucking cool too as well.
I like that. Makes her look very demonic.
Yeah, and this is also when you first get introduced to Krang, and they took the original stupid suit and they just like gave like a metal makeover, and it just looks badass, except for the stupid tuning fork on his head. But I
didn't notice that till now. That sucks.
That's you don't like the dumb tuning fork? What?
Well, the original suit had it too, didn't it?
It does, yes. Again, this is the 80s. Like I didn't really think about it when we read the first one. Nobody has cell phones.
It's a ponytail.
I love the colors that they choose, like the vibrant colors. Like you don't really get to see that so much in Turtles or anything like that. So I love they did that contrast with the yellow. Yeah,
they do a good job, and it makes Crane look like a badass in this. And I think this is when Casey Jones is talking with Krang. Oh yeah, this is when he makes a comment like, "Why do you guys want to get Earth so bad? Just go somewhere else. Bother a different planet."
Yeah,
And
and Krang just flat out says, "Yeah, it's a matter of pride at this point."
which is fair. I'll take it. I mean, we've seen what Krang has gone through, up to this point throughout the different series.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and look what he says here. Technologically speaking, you're eons behind the rest of the universe, and socially, you're still in the dark ages, and they still want
it. They can't beat it. It's cool. And you have a small scene where the turtles end up recouping. They go back to the tunnel, back to their hideout, and this is when they bring Shredder along, and they're all, of course, Leo wants to stab Shredder right to the face, which again makes sense. But I like how Tommy, he's bleeding across the face. I thought that was a cool touch. They added that in here because it wasn't something I expected, that you just see him all injured and beat up. Small thing, but
I think what's funnier is that they show Shredder where they live at, and they don't really give a shit, but it's whatever.
I didn't think about that, but you bring up a good point.
Right.
Why are you bringing your arch enemy into a place?
Well, I think it is funny too, because this is that plot that I brought up earlier where he's just really butthurt, and I don't think he even cares anyways, because he's like, I can't believe I've been fucking replaced. It's bullshit.
Yeah, he's pretty mad. Well, because Krang was his ally. Like in the first story, you have him constantly being like, we don't want to get them involved, and then now that they're involved, and he was tossed to the side. So yeah, it worked. It fits. It was kind of cool. It's just cool seeing Shredder in this. He's just such a badass, mech monstrous character in this way. The way they drew him, he's much more bulky than he normally is. I feel, even compared to the IDW, I think he's bulkier in this. And then you kind of see Angel Grove 3 days later, where the town has been occupied by the putty monsters and people are being enslaved essentially. And you have April and the two idiots are in the city trying to hide. Recon. I guess. Well, recon and hiding. It felt like.
Well, so they're trying to literally give us a sit rep to the Turtles and the Rangers, and here's what's going on. But they're hiding because they have to, because if they get spotted, and they're going to die. Attacked. It's going to be it.
Plus, those two guys are they make a comment we know the best hiding places.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to them because I haven't watched anything since the original cartoon, but they were always freaking dumbasses, weren't they?
Always, and it never stops.
They have their moments. The moment I'll bring up very later, which I think is a very funny reference. I also think the thing too, because we say there's no cell phones, but they record stuff, I guess, to go on the internet. I do think it's funny that also I would imagine that the only reason why people watch them is because they're the only people who actually are able to record the Rangers. So I think that's funny too.
That makes sense.
And they always refer to the Rangers as their friends. And Rita, I think, even brings it up later on, and they start denying it.
Yeah, there's a comment about that too. And you have a small part with Billy talking about this plan that him and Donatello had, because since the morphers don't work, they're talking about, well, we can mutate you. This, I unfortunately was spoiled on through seeing covers, or just I saw ads for it at some point, I think. I knew this was coming.
I knew it was coming too, but
so
how it happened, I didn't.
Yeah, I also saw this was coming, but I also thought that it wasn't the Rangers. I thought they just met animal people that happened to look like the animals the Rangers turn into. So seeing them actually turn is actually pretty cool.
It almost seems like, without knowing the context, Rangers from another dimension.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think I knew it was them, but I didn't know how I knew it was them. But I just remember seeing. I don't remember what it was that spoiled it, but it kind of bugged me now. Damn it, I would have liked to seen this, with no idea. What the fuck? That doesn't matter that much.
And as usual, as I want to confirm, Tommy's design is probably my favorite design out of all of them.
He's a fucking dragon.
He's a fucking motherfucking dragon.
So, Rich, when they make a Red Ranger dinosaur, I take it you'll be buying some toys, huh?
Goddamn right I will.
I mean, this is completely combining, your favorite things, mutant and Power Rangers. Well, turtles.
It comes out, I'd find it immediately. That and the Dimension X Rangers too.
That's coming. If they make Funko Pops of these, I don't have many Power Ranger Funko Pops. I just don't care. I would 100% buy the Triceratops, the T-Rex, and the Dragon. No question. I
doubt they will, but who knows? You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I make Funko Pops of everything.
I think they will, because like I said, Hasbro just had their big Hasbro Con, and they just released figures of some season of Power Rangers that it's something people care about it, but they've never released figures of it for. So I think if they're digging that deep, they're going to eventually make figures of these.
Are you referring to the Omega Rangers?
Yeah, they just made the Omega Ranger figurines, right?
Well, he knows.
So I bought them. I was one of those people that caused it to sell out, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank me later, everyone. But that is from Boom Studios Comics. So and I always told myself, when they bring those out, if and when they bring those out, I'm buying them immediately. And I did not bullshit. I had to get them.
I'm glad you're able to get the pre-orders. I heard the pre-orders were horrendous. It's
not worse than Turtle figures, by the way. Turtle figures usually sell out within like NECA Comic-Con exclusives. They sell out within like 30 seconds, and I get those. So this was nothing.
Oh, cool. They still have the pre-orders open for the Master Morpher too. Maybe I'll get that this weekend as well.
When I see if I see Funko Pops of these, I'm pre-ordering these. Like I pre-ordered a Blue Ranger Funko Pop that's coming in the mail.
And pay attention to those Omega Rangers, by the way. I don't know if I've ever covered this with you guys. Mike, I might have told you before. I don't know, but
you have.
Those Rangers, the red, black, and yellow, have to do with the original team, by the way.
Ooh.
You told me a little before of who it is.
When you get to that point, you're gonna love it. It'll like you might regret not getting the Omega Rangers.
Probably not. I don't buy figures. I just buy Funko Pop.
You say that, but at the Hasbro, even though the pre-orders are pretty weird, they've been pretty good about stocking up. Like I think for a good solid year, which I wish I had now, you could walk into GameStop and pretty much find the entire set of the Turtle Rangers.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I remember I saw them.
Better than like NECA is about restocking and stuff like that.
Also, for some reason, I've been seeing a lot on Twitter too. People think Hasbro doesn't care about Power Rangers, so they think that if they put more stuff out, people will buy it, which is a good thing anyway. So,
Just Hasbro's busy milking the Star Wars cow.
They're very much milking the Star Wars cow. They cut the Power Rangers toy section short so they could show off more Star Wars toys.
Yeah, not surprised. Like I follow a toy group in Minnesota, and they were bitching about how there was a Boba Fett toy that was like $3 more for the exact same figure of other figures because it was Boba Fett, and nobody would buy it out of principle and wait for it went clearance. So yeah, not surprised. Okay, but yeah, I mean, just when they morph, this was such a cool page, so fucking cool, and just seeing them fight as the creatures that they're associated with, where Trini's a cat, and it was just so cool. And the fact that Splinter plays a big part in that, where Splinter is like, he's the one that tells them, like, you have to accept who you are and be a mutant. He's like, I taught mutants before how to use their powers.
It was a good usage of Splinter, a realistic one. And what do they yell when they... Mutating time.
It's so cool. It's Go Mighty Mutant Power Rangers. So cool.
I'm telling you, man, if I saw this in a goddamn cartoon when I was a kid, I would have lost.
Same.
It's so damn cool. No, to go back to what your previous statement, what you were saying, I also regret that I didn't buy any of those Power Ranger Turtles Funko Pops at GameStop when I randomly talk about. I'm like, I don't care about these, and now I'm like, damn it, I care.
So pay attention to the mutated Rangers belts. That's the mutagen seeping into them to actually cause the mutation.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Someone somewhere has made fan versions of those belts, and I bet they look really good, and they have actual ooze in them.
Actual ooze. Real ooze.
That is... Okay, I did not catch it. That's why they can't just change back. Also, they have to wait a while. Like, they can't just... Like, yeah, you gotta just... Okay, that's very cool. And then this is when Casey Jones tells them to go to Dimension X. He gives them the directions, and he tells them how they tortured him and stuff, and that he realized and he tells them why he didn't betray them, but he acted like he was, because it was the only way they could win, he thought. And then the last panel is Shredder and the 4 turtles going to Dimension X to go where Casey told them to go.
Yeah, and you would think, like, oh man, he could have just told them ahead of time and all this and that, and well, they're all teenagers with communication issues anyway, so not that far-fetched.
It didn't bother me. It felt realistic enough.
I'll take it, I guess.
I mean, they are teenagers, so like you said, there's that. But I didn't even think about that. I'm like, okay, it just makes sense that you don't trust him because he just, he kicked your ass. He had to, like, earn your trust. Again, I think that was fair. Now I'm trying to load issue 4, so I can tell you what that issue is. I don't remember.
It starts off with them going into Dimension X, and I don't know enough about Ninja Turtles, and Shredder makes a really offhand comment that it looks like this could almost be the future of what's going to happen to Earth if the Krang takes over. And I don't know anything enough about that to be like, is that true? Or...
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is 100% accurate. Yeah.
Weird.
That was Krang's whole plan in IDW to terraform the Earth to look like this, so his people can thrive.
So it's what he's up to. It's what his whole goal in life is, essentially. So it doesn't. It rings true.
Yeah, and then you have basically Raphael talking to Shredder about like why he just doesn't just help. If he's helping them, why doesn't he help them in general? And he has this whole weird thing where he's like, it's better to be feared than to be loved because you can actually control people through fear, and that's why people don't like. It goes both ways. Like, why do you help people whenever people see you? You got everyone just freaks out and calls you a bunch of freaks, and kind of a talk that they've never had before that I've seen, and I think it's interesting.
They really haven't gotten that talk. No,
it was definitely cool to see. It was something different that you don't see normally.
And we get back to the teenagers as still mutants fighting more rock putties. And probably a lot of dialogue that I'm hoping actually came back up, which is can Tommy breathe fire? He's a dragon, because dragons technically don't exist, and which is also
they were building up.
Yeah, yes, they were.
Valuable question, but we get back to.
I mean, let's be honest. Like everybody kind of thought, is this guy going to breathe fire? Like,
and now that I got my internet to work again, I got to talk about the cover of cover 4, issue 4, where the turtles in the Power Ranger suits and the Power Rangers are all mutated.
I love it all.
I want that as a poster without the stuff at the top. I don't need the Power Rangers and Turtles, or maybe just take out the 2 and I'd be happy. Like, that's such a fucking cool post image.
I've been trying to find that without any words on it, and I can't find it because I want it as a phone back.
Just gotta wait until, like I said, that big Compa thing comes out.
Pretty much.
When they release the trades finally.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen sooner than later. I mean, this just finished, so that's why we're stuck waiting still. We normally don't read comics that are this close when they just get released, but I really enjoyed 1, and just I had to get more of this. It was just so good, and it was cool seeing it's cool seeing Dimension X all ruined, because like the thing is, Dimension X wasn't ruined before. It wasn't until Krang essentially what did it by starting a war. So that was cool to see. And this is when because I know that this is when Tommy's trying to convince Leatherhead to join him also, and then he's like, they offered me all of Louisiana and some of Florida. I thought that was funny too.
Fair.
But is Louisiana even touching Florida? I couldn't remember my geography.
No, there's a state in between them, but I think it's implied that he's just getting more than what he wants. So
that makes sense.
There's gators in those parts of the U.S.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense then. I was just curious, like, why it was like, why would you want states that are not together? But...
Oh yeah, but you can cut this part out, Mike. But I put the Wikipedia page up, and the Wikipedia page has all the covers without the text on them. So there you guys go.
Oh, hell yeah.
That is very cool. I will have to look at that. And this is when you also have back in Angel Grove, in the city that now all ruined, you see that this is when the 2 idiots get captured by Rita and Bebop and Rocksteady. Bebop and Rocksteady caught them.
Yep.
Weird offhand thought I had while reading this. I'm honestly surprised they did not turn Bulk and Skull into like knockoff versions of Bebop and Rocksteady, because they're basically the exact same characters.
I would like to see it.
I don't know why they didn't do anything with them.
They do something goofy, which is later on whenever they're like, oh, Bebop and Rocksteady's not Bebop Rocksteady, Skull and Bulk's transmission saved everyone, and the outfits they're wearing are their, like, what is it called? They wear it during one of the movies whenever they're helping people. It's supposed to be like their resistance outfits. I thought that was a cool Easter egg.
Okay,
You know what? I'll throw this out there for you guys too, so you can anticipate Boom Studios even more. There's the alternate dimension of the coin list, where Lord Draken has, you might know this a little bit, but Lord Draken has taken over and practically destroyed the world for the most part. It's a dystopia. Bulk and Skull are rather badasses in that dystopia, by the way.
Oh, that's cool.
I believe that. And that's what I'm looking forward to, because I keep seeing stuff on it, and I'm always a fan of seeing a character become increasingly badass, and that Lord Draken suit is just peak of what I want in a Power Ranger suit.
And didn't the actual actor wear the suit too, even though it was a comic book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Someone made the suit and was like, can you wear the suit? And he's like, I will wear the suit. And then he got permission from Hasbro, and Hasbro's like, you can wear the suit if we make a commercial out of it. And he's just like, bet.
He seemed like he was a cool guy.
He was a great guy.
Still makes me sad. I saw him at a convention, but I didn't talk to him, and I still regret it. Same convention that Kevin Conroy is at, and he died too after since then. So it's like, ugh. That's why I just now if I see him, I'm like, fuck it, here's my money.
Yeah.
Let's just do it before I regret it. And then you have, when you're in Dimension X, you have Rita and them are telling them all the plan and Krang how they're going to destroy the world. And this is when Casey Jones reveals to them, like, hey, I'm going to betray you. And he tries to attack Rita, but because he's a Ranger, Rita controls all the Ranger stuff. So it doesn't work. And then he finally gets brainwashed, which you don't find out till a little bit later. But there was a really cool
this time.
There was a really cool scene here when you have the Rangers when they're in Dimension X and they're in the Technodrome and they see the 4 morphers that aren't working currently. And I didn't think anything about. They also find Karai, who's in a jail cell.
Karai, who admits that she's a simp and she will not betray Shredder no matter what.
Hey, that lines up with everything she's in. So. I mean, the 2003 cartoon, the IDW, it lines up pretty well.
Well, that typically is his granddaughter in every iteration, so she's stuck with him.
In 2003, she's, I think, his adopted daughter, because, that Shredder didn't have any babies, because, he's not human, so.
Yeah, no.
I also like how whenever he reveals that they're helping the Turtles, she's not even, questioning it, she's just on board.
Oh, and I was also thinking when they have this big 2-page spread of all the monsters because they found it's a trap and there's all these Power Ranger monsters waiting to fight the Turtles, where the Turtles enemies are fighting the Rangers, which I like that. A lot of these look like they're enemies from the first season. Like I recognize the eyeball guy.
All of them are.
Okay, one of them are. That's cool. I didn't recognize all of them, but I recognized a few of them. And
I'll be honest, the only one I don't recognize is that frog-looking one on the right, but otherwise all the others are for sure.
I think he eats them. I think he was a villain that eats them all, and they have they're inside his stomach, and they're like, "Oh no!" or something.
Well, maybe
it's been a while. It's been a long time, but it was just cool to see, and I really like. For some reason, I've always been a big fan of that skeleton with the hat, with the top hat. I like that character.
You used to have that toy.
I did, yes. I think I gave it to you. If not, it will be given to you whenever I go back to Milwaukee.
I actually have it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a few. I had him. I had a couple toys.
I know I had that eyeball monster back in the day.
I did too. He's missing eyes because some came out and you could shoot, and when they got shot, they never came back.
I bought the Hasbro version of Finster recently. They had the pig, but I usually don't buy the enemies. I just thought the Finster one was real cool.
They also made Finster look almost like a badass in this. Like he looks tougher than he. I mean, in the original show, they're all like goofy.
Well, they're goofy because they're in big plastic suits. I mean,
yes. I mean, they gave one guy a monocle. Like, come on now, you're not trying to make him badass and you give him a monocle. Nothing screams he's gonna kill me like a monocle. And then when they're fighting the monsters, this is when they figure out that the Dimension X morphers are activating, and then they power up. They go power extreme, and the Turtles become the X Rangers. These are badass looking.
And cool as all hell.
I know Rich will be buying that red one when they announce a figure in a couple years.
if they put them in a 4-pack, it's getting bought.
I also agree. The suits are really clean looking. I don't know why Raphael has the sword from Halo, but that's in there.
I didn't think about that. It does look like the Halo sword, and then Michelangelo essentially has kunai. I think that's what they're called when you have a weapon with the chain. Isn't it kunai?
I think kunai are the knives.
I can't remember. I know there's
little small knives. I think you get throwing knives.
Okay, I know there's a name for it.
It's like a chain whip thing that he's got.
Actual name, but I cannot remember. But that's irrelevant. But it was cool to see them get different weapons.
Is it? You mean like a comma? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I cannot remember. It's irrelevant, but it was just cool to see them fight. And this is when you have the small scene where Skull and Bulk are like, "Come rescue us," because they convince Rocksteady and Bebop that they'll put them on. They'll make them famous or they'll make them rich.
And it works.
Well, they're stupid. And again, these are the 80s. I mean, hell, they're even stupid in IDW, but they are fucking terrifying.
Look at the part where Rocksteady and Bebop are in the camera with Bulk, and Rocksteady's literally posing in the camera. It's so pathetic.
But it fits them, and it fits the 80s version of them. Because this is very much the 80s version of them. Yeah, they look so stupid. They're nowhere near as terrifying as they are in IDW.
And then we get probably the best cliffhanger ever, where we go back to Angel Grove, and we find out Krang took over the Megazord and is about to blow up the whole town.
It's so damn cool. And Krang is in the center of the Megazord, but he's all gigantic now, like a Power Rangers villain.
And I thought about that. I was like, why the fuck is he that big? Like he's he should be a tiny brain in this thing, right? But he's with Rita, who can change the size of beings like her monsters, so it makes sense.
I think they confirmed in the last comic too that she can also increase whatever monsters have mutagen, or anything from the turtle universe. So yeah.
I thought it was really cool. And I had unfortunately saw this because like CBR, great site, had a freaking like, oh, look what's coming up. And I ended up seeing the image because it was the freaking like main image or something for an article. So that was unfortunately spoiled for me too. But again, it doesn't matter, but it did bum me out. And then that brings us to issue 5, which is only a couple Rangers on the cover and then 2 turtles on the cover and Casey Jones. And they're in their X suits. So not as cool as the other one, but still cool.
Well, you always have the point where you never know, because you have Raph and Leo, who are never really confirmed as which is the leader, and they switch up a lot. I am glad that they have Billy on here, because a lot of stuff that's happening in between like the last comic and even this comic run is a lot of this wouldn't have happened without the help of Billy and Billy just working with weird shit just to make weird goofy shit for them.
Billy is my favorite Ranger.
He gets a decent amount of shine in here.
He does
in this run, so no wonder you love this one so much.
I think I just kind of related to him as a kid, since he was kind of geeky and kind of like not associated with the group.
That's why your favorite turtle is also
Donatello.
There you go, your dream team has come together.
Weirdly enough, in the previous interviews, Mike, that was actually what he was going for. Is that the guy that played Billy was like, yeah, I'm really glad that I was able to play a nerdy character who could show kids that it was cool to be smart. So there you go.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. I've only met one Power Ranger so far. I met Jason once at a convention. Me and Rich did. We got Funko Pops. I got a Funko Pop signed. That's the only Ranger I met so far. I might be meeting the Blue Ranger by the time you're hearing this, because he's going to be in Minnesota in November. I might go meet him.
They're doing more stuff now.
And now I'm more into Power Rangers, so now it's most likely going to happen.
You probably should do it. I think you're going to regret it if you don't.
I'm going to do it. Yeah, it's already going to happen. So I'm also meeting a few other people that are going to be there. I got Funko Pops I'm ordering so I can get them all signed. Because Funko Pops look really cool when you have them signed on a shelf with a bunch of other Funko Pops. Look very cool. And then issue 5 opens up with, like how it says, Go Dimension X Rangers, and it has the 4 turtles jumping out of a teleporter. It's just cool because they're finally going back to Angel Grove, and this is where Rita is having them fight. Or no, they're at the command center, and Rita is having them fight Casey Jones because now she has them manipulated and brainwashed.
Yeah, this is what real brainwashing looks like.
Yeah.
And a slight improvement on the suit. I wish they had maybe kept the helmet, but I do like the half hockey mask face look.
I'd rather have the helmet, but then you wouldn't have the red eyes.
Sure, I get it. I'll take it for what it is. But yes, helmet would have been better.
And I did laugh at this when Shredder shows up and Tommy's like, "I want to call the Dragon Zord, but I can't play my horn or his stupid dagger." And I was thinking to myself, like,
in this present condition,
like, how do you play it through your mask anyway?
Magic.
But it was cool that Shredder does it instead. Shredder's like, "No problem," and then he just morphs, and you get the Shredder Green Ranger again, which I still really like it. And they were trying to sell me the Funko Pop online. Shortly after this, I saw ads for $25 to buy that Funko Pop. And I'm like, bastards.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? It's now that I see this, him morphing into the Green Ranger again, reminds me of like Monster Hunter armor. Like he killed the dragon, made armor out of it. That's just what it looks like to me.
Okay, that's fair.
So what would you say Shredder summons, Mike?
The Dragon Zord? That's what he summons.
Did that pick up? I hope that picked up.
It did.
Okay.
Oh, no, I did not pick up. If you play something in the background.
Hold on. Damn, still nothing? Damn.
No. Nothing. I can't hear it.
Fuck me. I brought the fucking the
dagger?
The dagger down. Yeah, I guess it's not loud enough.
I know the song, kind of, but I don't know how it goes. It's been a while since I've actually heard it. But no, that was cool. I like that the Dragon Zord comes, and then you also have Metalhead has all been transformed again, and now he's all big again, and it shows up too. So that was cool to see too.
Zordon and Alpha piloting it.
Yeah.
Which is the first time that's happened, by the way.
Oh, okay. Another first in here.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, those Funko Pops are really expensive now for the Turtles and the Shredder. They are not cheap.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, well, since I bought the NECA ones, I was like, I don't need the Funkos, I guess.
I just want the Shredder Funko. But I'm not paying $25 plus shipping, so not happening. Okay.
Weirdly enough, I went to Amazon because I wanted to see if they still had the Lord Draken helmet up, which they do. They also, I guess they re-released the Dragon dagger as well for like $100.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I'm glad I'm not a big Power Rangers fan because then I had to buy that stuff.
Yeah,
It doesn't
big
interest me.
money sink, that's for sure, buddy.
I'm no surprise to money things. I'm surrounded by Funko Pops and video games, so I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But just seeing the Dragon Zord and just seeing them fight, like they try to fight Krang in his giant in the giant Megazord, and he's kicking their ass, and then they finally decide they have to morph together. That was also really fucking cool. And then, but during that, before that happens, a couple things I almost skipped over. You have when the Rangers are trying to fight Casey Jones, and then Rita's like, "You guys are Rangers. I can control Rangers," and she just immobilizes them. And I know one of them makes a comment, they're like, "I can't believe I'm a turtle that's actually stuck on his back." That did make me laugh. Is that a normal thing where Rita can control the Rangers?
No, it's not. I mean,
okay.
Historically, obviously, she's controlled Tommy before, and then now she's doing it with Casey. But anything other than that, no, not really. I think they've even done it with Kimberly at one point, but it's not like a snap of her fingers and it's done. Like she has to go through a process and do this and that to actually make it happen. But they're kind of exaggerating it here.
Okay. I mean, it works. So the whole idea is that, they're losing and then Casey Jones breaks the weapon that's brainwashing him and then saves them essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, this is when Krang is beating the shit out of Zordon and Dragon Zord, the Morphin mutants end up jumping up and it breaking the glass open that Krang is in. And then this is when you get the payoff of Tommy breathing fire on Krang while Kimberly is carrying him.
Love it.
Very cool. I appreciated it. It's a very cool moment. And then I also like this when you have the Dragon Turtle Zord power up when Shellhead and Dragon Zord morph together to make a giant mech.
Got that.
Not my favorite design though, honestly.
It's cool, but it wasn't my favorite design either.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite.
There's gonna be a toy of this.
Yeah, I'm fine with it because I actually hate the main design of the Dragon Zord. It looks like a big fat guy. It looks like a big fat guy walking forward. It's only whenever it transforms, whenever it looks like a person, that I like it. So seeing it like this is actually pretty cool.
Okay, that's something I wasn't. I liked the Dragon Zord when I was a kid a lot.
One thing I'm going to tell you right now: if you love these kind of like one-off combinations, there is a Dragon Zord White Tiger combination in Boom Studios. You're going to love that.
He's going to buy the whole freaking buying a bunch of these at some point, I feel.
Yeah.
And many more other combinations you never would have thought of happen as well.
Wasn't the Dragon Zord originally just a guy in a suit, right? They just had little buildings and they fought?
That's what all Zords were.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Well, Megazords anyway, but like the individual Zords,
they were just toys.
Combined, those were toys, yeah.
Because I went to look up the Dragon Zord on YouTube and it gave me the I guess when Tommy first shows up and the Dragon Zord is fighting the Megazord, and I'm just looking at this like, why?
Oh yeah, it's the old the what is that? Toho like Godzilla kind of way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is so stupid.
It's funny too because you see that scene, but the whole time in the background you have like the most badass theme of like the Go Green Ranger Go song, which is like the most menacing Power Rangers song, and then that also song pops up whenever he's like beating the shit out of them when he like jumps in their Zord. Like, they get their ass kicked whenever.
I remember getting their ass kicked all the time. No, they're fighting some Cyclops in here, is what I found. Whatever the hell this is, a Cyclops that looks like the Megazord. I don't know what I found. YouTube. I don't know enough about turtles, unfortunately. All right, and then after they morph, I think they pretty much just they beat down Krang. Yeah, they beat down Krang pretty quickly, and then you just see scenes of the town celebrating.
Part. One thing I want to point out,
yes,
is where it shows April doing her port on the right side of that panel is a homage to the first Superman action comic.
Oh, I see where he's holding the car up. I should have caught that.
I didn't catch that.
And the person like screaming in the foreground was a human, and on Superman's it's Bebop here.
Okay, that's cool. This is a cool ass book. And then the last part or near the end part, you have, is that where Rita and Krang, are they put inside like a trash can again, essentially?
Those are the trash cans. So, and that's what Rita burst out of in the intro in the first episode of Power Rangers. One thing I will say about those dumpsters is that those are used in Boom Studios as prison. There's a whole hall full of criminals in dumpsters on a certain planet that the Omega Rangers actually reside on.
To be fair, they're not actually dumpsters. I don't know why the 90s Power Rangers decided to turn them into dumpsters, to like a space trash can. but it did. But I always think of like the '90s being really goofy for coming up with that idea.
Yeah,
wasn't
like a space dumpster. I don't know what they call them in the Boom Studios thing. It's not space dumpster, obviously.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be Earth that she landed on that original? Okay, no, not the Earth. It's somewhere else, and someone opens it. Or
It's the moon.
On the
Okay.
moon, yeah.
I'm looking at the intro. I'm watching the opening intro of the old Power Rangers right now on YouTube. I don't remember any.
Yeah, no. In the I believe in the opening for like, the '90s version, it's very much like, oh, they found Rita in a space trash can on the moon. She's like, haha, Power Rangers, I've been free. But like in the Japanese version, it's just like they found like a weird capsule. Like they never refer to it like as a space trash can like ever.
Space dumpster. How stupid.
Okay, I just remember people talking about that like randomly online. So I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, and again, in Boom Studios, they take that dumpy, stupid concept, make it into this like thing where the most notorious criminals are kept away and put aside.
Okay, because it was cool to kind of see that again. And then you have Shredder, who was working, now leaves the Turtles. He's like, we're no longer allies anymore. And you have a couple brief scenes, like I like the one where the Turtles are back in Angel Grove, and then so I guess can the Power Rangers not morph anymore then?
No, they can.
By now, they can.
But they don't want to risk mutating anymore, is what it is. So they can't do they can't do the mutation one anymore.
Okay, and I like how it ends with Power Bunga for them, and then you have like a brief Super Mario movies ending scene where April and Casey are going to Dimension X, and April's all dressed up in the Dimension X Ranger outfit.
One thing I want to bring up,
yes,
is Donnie says, "Do you think those Dimension X morphers come with Zords?" I would have loved to see those.
That's what part 3 is in a couple years.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we're getting a part 3. It's just going to take them a couple of years.
So aside from that, you mentioned April, which is cool as hell to see her in that. By the way, I actually love that.
I like that too.
Where the fuck did this morpher come from? Because I didn't see a yellow one.
Yeah, yellow wasn't there.
I'd like to imagine that they made it probably without telling Casey, because I mean, they're one thing that you find out in Power Rangers is there's different colors of the morphing grid, so I'm assuming it's just like, well, we'll make a yellow one. It's whatever. We'll figure it out.
Maybe their shadow morpher technology was used. I don't know. They don't explain it. Oh, and they mentioned the neutrinos too, Mike.
Yeah, I caught that.
Yeah. Neutrinos are a Dimension X race that wars with Krang.
Oh.
So we essentially know that more stuff is coming. I mean, hell, the ending of this, so Shredder is on the moon in Rita's hideout, and he has the Shadow Morpher still, and then all of a sudden he's talking to somebody else, and then the final page is him talking to Lord Zed.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
So Lord Zed doesn't mean a lot to me, because he was like, season 2? Does he continue on with the Power Rangers for a while?
Well, yeah, technically he shows up sporadically throughout the series now and then. I think he even showed up in the most recent series, to be honest with you. But in the comics, he's big shit in the comics, and he's still relevant right now at this part that I'm at. What's that?
The Boom stuff.
From what I've seen in the Boom comics, Lord Zed is fucking terrifying, and that's one of the other reasons why I'm really excited to read those.
Zed in the comics has some of the most fascinating character development that you couldn't even imagine. Like his origin up to even what he's doing right now. It's fascinating, and they treat the character right. There's so much stuff I want to talk about when it comes to his goddamn origins, but I can't.
We'll get there. We'll do it for sure. I got the itch now, and we can crank them out just like we crank out the TMNT stuff eventually. So.
Oh yeah.
But my guess is it'll be a couple years, because 2019 is when the first one ended, and then this one ended in 2023. So my guess is we won't get another one until 2025, 2026.
I would guess so. Yeah.
Because they want to give a couple years in between but damn, when I saw that thing and it says the end ? And I'm like, fucking A, I want more.
Plus, full offense, you got to have a trilogy of things. You know, that's just the way things work nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 Batman Turtles comics too. I don't know if they're
bring that up when you got successful crossovers like that. Yeah, they're probably going to go up to 3.
Are those 3 connected though?
The Batman ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all continuation.
Okay. I only read the first one back when it first came out. I bought the whole first one. We'll probably do those soon too, because I really want to cover those.
Oh, yeah, I'm waiting. I like you. I read the whole first run. Started on the second, just never fully finished it. So that'll give me an incentive to just read them all.
Okay, I got to get Last Ronin, but then it probably will come after that. Get our Last Ronin stuff done, and then we can get back to those.
Oh yeah.
I'll have Joe and Ken for those. when we do the Batman stuff, because those are my Batman guys. Two of my Batman guys.
Nice.
All right, and I think that brings us to Shelf Stacker Box. And Joe, why don't you go first?
Oh, I thank you. It's definitely go on the shelf. I like this one a lot more than the other one, and I'm really excited what's to come. And obviously, I blame Richard because not only is it showing more tropes that I like, this is very much also me being like, fuck, I really need to start reading those goddamn Boom Studio comics. So most definitely shelf.
I mean, there's ways. Right now, the website decided to crash on me while we were recording. That's why I had to stop talking at one point and try to find them again. But there are ways. And Rich, what about you?
Well, it's obvious again. This is two of my favorite worlds coming together. They treated it right. They treated it with respect. And there's not much more I can say. I can't wait for part 3. It's going on the shelf for sure.
Okay. And I'll go last. This is also going to the shelf, too. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of Power Rangers, but this was just so damn good. And this was way better than the first one. The first one was good, too. So I really enjoyed this, and I'm in the same boat. I can't wait for 3, even though I know it's going to be a long time. It's probably going to be years, but god damn it, this is a good fucking crossover. So, yeah, that is our TMT Power Rangers 2. And if you enjoyed this episode, there are over 500 other episodes you can check out. You can find everything we do on Podbean. We've done tons of TMT stuff. We do the other Power Rangers crossover. We do movies, comics, TV shows, whatever I can convince people to talk with or people convince me to do. So check out our giant catalog. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon. A little dollar, you can vote in our Patreon poll. We have one every month. We have a Discord. If you want to chat with us, please join our Discord. You'll see a link in the show notes for that, too. We want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Hasphere. You can follow her on TikTok. You'll see a link in the show notes to all her stuff in her link tree. And want to give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, did the MCU movies with me. Check out his podcast, A Gamer Looks at 40. And if you want to follow us, we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube, but audio only. But you can get us everywhere. And I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Power Bunga!
Power Bunga.